What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to pull leads from Apollo using N8N and how to do that on a schedule and do it continuously so you have a flow of leads that will never run out essentially, and that your automations can run in the background without you having to do any manual work whatsoever. This is essentially the backbone, the quarterback of that, to making sure you don't have to go back and put more leads in if it runs out. So, before we jump into it, I'd also like to mention, hey, if you're new here, welcome. All we do here is automations, look at AI, and how to leverage those two things to essentially make more money, either inside your own business, to make your personal life easier, to sell them to businesses. And so if you like that, please Spartan kick the like button off a cliff because he deserves it. And then subscribe if you want to see more content like this. You can, subscribe later if you find this useful. But without further ado, let's hop into it. So this is the flow, guys. And like I said, this is going to allow you to link the Apollo API and basically continuously pull leads into whatever automation you have. And this is going to find people and enrich their data. And it's going to put them into a Google Sheets where you can draw on that data for whatever workflows you want. So just to walk through these step by step before I build it for you right here. So one is we're going to get the get rows in sheets, and we're going to do the hiring database, which is going to be this right here. This is actually something I'm building for a friend. And with this hiring database, we want to use the page tracking. So this is a complete no code flow. If you watch my other videos, you see me doing with the code, but this is a no code flow. And so we basically wiped out any of the use of the code, and it's actually a lot simpler, a lot easier. The caveat is you need this page tracking system on the back end. Because the thing is that with the Apollo API, guys, it sucks. It's a pain in the ass to deal with. And so we have to do a lot of workarounds. So one of them is it doesn't automatically paginate. And so paginate, it doesn't automatically switch to the next page. And so since it doesn't automatically switch to the next page, we have to do that manually. But since we don't want to do that manually, we have to build a system around updating the page every time the workflow finishes. And so that is something that we built into this system. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is make your Google Sheets. The Google Sheets is just going to be the headers are going to be from what we get from Apollo, which is going to be pretty much the same every single time. You can copy and paste it from your last workflow you used with Apollo. If you haven't used one with Apollo before, when you submit all the data, you'll see all of these headers of items that they have, and just go ahead and put all the ones that you need into your Google Sheets. Really simple as that. And then that's the way you can map it. So it does start with the Google Sheets, and we are going to be using that page tracking tab sheet. We're going to be using that page tracking sheet because then from there, we use a handy dandy node that really doesn't get a lot of love. It's the summarize node. And it's going to look at the page number field. And so it's going to say, and I can go ahead and execute this step here. We look here, it's going to say we are on page 4. And so when we go to page 4, go in here, and I wipe my API key for this one so I don't have to show it so it doesn't get stolen. We can see here that the page number is reflected as 4. And the per page really should be 100. I have it at 5 for testing purposes. I have a note to update that to 100 when we implement it, but nonetheless, we see that it updates the page number, and then after every run, it's going to go to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. And so it'll continue to update, and it'll continue to exceed. I imagine there's going to be a point, thousands of pages in when it caps out. But nonetheless, this should be good for the foreseeable future. And once you run out of leads, you're kind of tapped out the whole market anyways. And then just a little bit more about what's going on here. So we do per page, we just hard code that in. Person locations, that's what we're using. If you go to the Apollo API docs, and if you watch my video, which I'll link in the description, or maybe I'll throw one here. I don't know. I probably won't feel like editing that in. But if you go to the Apollo API docs, you can see all the different use cases for the people search API, and you can program it to your liking. But there's person locations, what we used, and person titles is what we used as well. And then I always use include similar titles and contact email status as verified and likely to engage. And then we have to do this tricky people array node. And the only reason we have to do that is just because of the way that the data comes out from the Apollo API for the people search. It comes out in kind of like a jumbled mess. And so this helps turn it into a clearly defined array. Go ahead and just copy and paste this one, guys. And you just go from the people, not the contacts. It's important that it needs to be the people. And, you go with array JSON.people question mark JSON.people colon array close brackets, and that should just do it. And then you just put the split out node here. Again, it's going to be people again, and then we go straight to our enrichment node. And the enrichment node is super easy. You literally just put the JSON.id for the people. And you can see building these nodes is super, super simple. If you just go to Apollo API and you copy and paste the C URL curl, if you will, you can just copy and paste it directly into here. All this stuff will come pre-filled except for API key, which you just need to paste that in. And then for this one, you literally just add ID JSON. So the people one can be kind of complex, just to go back to it, because there's all this JSON down here. But don't over complex it, guys. So let's see. They don't really have a good example, but it's fine. You can use mine as an example, guys. If you know how to write JSON, you should know how to write this. And if you don't, just copy and paste mine. It's pretty self-explanatory. It starts with a bracket, quotes around each of these objects, items, whatever the hell you want to call them, colon, and then the thing you want to input, then comma. And then you do that for each of them except arrays, which is different numbers of objects inside the item. You just do the array, you quote it, you comma. It's a very, you see the redundancy that happens here. Person titles, quotes, colon, array, quotes, comma, blah, blah, blah. And then for the last one, just important to know that there's no comma at the end of the last one. It's only the ones before the last one. Don't ask me why. It's just weird how JSON does their thing. Then moving on to append row in Sheets. Probably rename this guy to add people. This time you're going into that same sheet, but we're going to the left-hand side, which is the database side. And you're going to have to use the authentication with these. I didn't cover that before, but you will have to use OAuth 2 authentication, which can be a pain in the ass if things aren't set up right. But for most people, it should be very, very simple and very straightforward. If you have any problems, let me know. Then you just drag and drop, right? You just drag and drop ID, first name, last name, blah, 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 blah. And then you leave. You might have some extra fields that you're going to use in another, sub workflow, let's say, or just leave those blank, right? You can even delete them out if you want. It doesn't matter. But you add all this information, then your person gets uploaded and updated in here with all the information that you asked. And then lastly, we have to aggregate it. The aggregate node is here, and you don't need to do anything with it. You just drop it in. And it's only here because for the pagination, this is how we have to write the JSON. So we do the summarize.item.json.count page, which is actually just from this node. It's just this one. You just drop this in. So if we drop this in, we'll see it's the same thing. And then you just literally, and it's stupid simple. It's funny. I actually wasn't sure if this would work. I was like, I wonder if I just do +1. And I just did +1 and it works, guys. And it just adds 1 to every number every time. And it just appends it to the sheet as the next number. And so that's it, guys. That's the entire workflow. Super easy. There is a deduping process that is important to do after this, so you're not getting duplicates. And I'll make another video on that because my deduper actually broke recently, and I've been having a hell of a time getting it to work. And you know, it's still not working. There's some Google OAuth bullshit that is just, I don't know. I don't know what to do, but I'll figure it out. And you'll see that I'm dropping in some notes here. That's because these actually hold my API key, which I wasn't trying to share to the whole world. And anyways, let's test it out. Sweet. Okay. So we can see here that, you know, there was 4 items, right? And then it changed to 1 item, count page 1, found our people. And then we go here and we can see, yep, we got a bunch of people here like Russell Crothers. It's we're up to 5 now, so we can see 5 appended and the new people appended as well. And now I did show you that in the enrich, or maybe not the enrich, in the people find, it says 5, right? But it only found 4. Why? So why it did that is, one, maybe it found 5, but one of them doesn't have one of these verified or likely to indicate Gmail, or some other filter that we've included there. And so if they don't have the right information that we've included from our filter, when we find them, it will automatically exclude them from our list here, which is super helpful and super important, even though I do wish that it automatically found the next viable person, because that way, from a perspective of saying, hey, I want exactly 100, you're not going to shoot for 100 and get your 90. And, you know, especially as a deliverable, you probably want to go above and over deliver opposed to under, because you're going to have a shortfall. You're never, or I shouldn't say never, but you are very, very rarely, when you ask for 100 leads through this API, when you have refined criteria, get the whole 100. And so it's just a pain. Like I said, Apollo API sucks. It's really, really bad, but it's a whole of a lot easier than just going to Apollo and pulling lists and doing it all manually. And so Apollo guys, if you're watching again, come on, please, like, do something. It's terrible. It's so bad. Anyways, yeah, it's the bane of my existence, but I'm here to help us all fix this to make it easier. But that's the workflow in totality, guys. Again, if you like this video, if you got some benefit from it, I'd super appreciate a like, and even more appreciate a subscribe. And that's it, guys. So I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.